Today, the talk is about karma. And this word karma is Sanskrit form is karma, K-A-R-M-A. The Pali form is kamma, K-A-M-M-A. Kamma. But some people spell it wrong as K-A-M-A. So if you say K-A-M-A, it is not kamma, it is kama. It has a different meaning. Kama refers to sensual pleasures. But kamma simply means your emotions or emotional behavior. That's what karma is. And very often people, they are worried about their circumstances. People begin to worry about circumstances. Whatever happens in the world, if it is not happening as you want, you see that as karma. And karma is not what is happening in the world. Karma simply means your behavior, your actions, which are based on your emotions, your emotional behavior. And the way you behave emotionally has a consequence. Consequence means it is the result of your behavior. You begin to either suffer or you begin to be happy. Happiness and unhappiness depends on how you think, how you speak, and how you act. So it is very important to think in the right way, speak in the right way, and act in the right way. And that way you act is what is called karma. So it is very important to understand that, because the Buddhist lay life, most people think, is based on karma. And the lay behavior is mainly to control your behavior. And the behavior not based on your emotions, but the behavior should be based on how you think properly. But when you are influenced by emotions, you behave in the wrong way. And as a result, you begin to suffer. All the sufferings of the world is based on how you behave, how you think, how you speak, how you act. And your life, whether it is happy or unhappy, is based on your emotions. But very often people think that karma is a kind of punishment and reward. It's called the law of punishment and reward. There is no law like that. And karma is not a law like that. Karma is not a law at all. Karma simply means how you live your life, what you do, and mainly the emotional doing or emotional life. This is why it is very important to learn to gain control over your emotions. So, the real basis of the 5 precepts that you observe, people think it is based on karma. But it is not based on karma as a punishment and reward. But it is based on karma. If you understand karma as simply the kind of emotion you live with. So this is why it is so important. And our happiness and unhappiness is not based on a law of punishment and reward. It is based on metta, karuna, mudita and upekha. So what that means is your life depends, or your happiness in life depends on cultivating good emotions. What are called good emotions are metta, karuna, mudita and upekha. And this is called the divine dwelling. Now, divine dwelling means it is how God, who created the world, lives. Of course, the Buddhists don't believe in a God who created the world, but still we can understand that if God created the world, He would be behaving in a certain way. There is a God that everyone knows of, and that is your mother. The mother has a certain love for the children, and it is that same love that this Creator has for the creation. But here the Buddha pointed out that this love that a creator has for the creation, or the mother has for the children, that is the love that should be cultivated by everyone. And it is only if you cultivate this kind of love and compassion that you will be reborn in the heavens or the Devalokas. And all those beings who are living in the heavens, the inhabitants of heaven, they are all people who have been cultivating love for all beings. It is that kindness and compassion that takes you to heaven. And those who go to hell are people who have been going in the opposite direction. Those who have been selfish and always thinking of getting things rather than giving. Getting other people to help you instead of you helping other people. If people begin to kill, hurt others, steal from others, rob others, these are the people who go to hell. So this is why it is very important, not because it is based on the law of karma as a punishment and reward, but it is how things happen in the world, that everything that occurs in the world occurs due to the presence of the necessary conditions. This is what is called paticca samuppada. Everything that happens in the world happens not because someone does it, but because when the necessary conditions are present, it happens. And that is what we call karma. So it is very important to understand the importance of karma in our lives. It is not only where you are going to be reborn that is important, even in this very life. Your happiness or unhappiness is dependent on the way you think, speak, or act. There is a book written by an American man. He doesn't call himself a Buddhist, and he doesn't even call what he's writing, he doesn't call it Buddhism. But he begins with the quotation from the Buddha, and he expands on it and explains it in detail. Everyone reads this. Christians read it, Jews read it, sometimes even Buddhists read it, but they don't understand that teaching in that book is all Buddhism. Because he never talks about karma or rebirth or any of those things. The teaching of karma is really based on what is happening in the present, not worrying about what is happening in the future. If you look after the present, the future will look after itself. So this is why it is so important to understand karma. It is simply how you live and what you do and how you think. So it is very important to understand this, and this is why you begin to meditate. Meditation is not concentrating your mind or to be sitting like a statue. That is not meditation. Meditation is living your normal life, but selecting the thoughts you think. You are not thinking any thought that comes into your mind. You are thinking only good thoughts. It is like learning to type, or maybe learning to play the piano or something like that. You don't let your fingers touch any key or anything like that. You have to carefully put your finger in the right place. So in the same way, when you think, you don't think any thought that comes into the mind. You think only good thoughts and avoid bad thoughts. That is the real meaning of meditation. Meditation is not something that you do 20 minutes in the morning or 20 minutes in the evening. It is something that you do every moment in your life. Every moment in your life you should be thinking only good thoughts. It is only if you practice that you'll be able to go to heaven or even nirvana. But if you don't do that, you can be born as an animal, maybe a cat or a dog, or maybe some other bird or something like that, or maybe even a crocodile. So all this is because you just let your thoughts go as it wants. It is only if you learn to gain control over your thoughts and think only good thoughts and not bad thoughts that you'll be able to go to heaven or any place that is good. Even if you are born in the human world, you will be born in a very pleasant condition. Maybe as you born into a rich family. All that is because the way you think. So, your practice of precepts, or if you give gifts to others, make sacrifices for others, all that is based on the thoughts you think. That's why an American man wrote a very interesting book, which you should read. One was really, there are several books written by Americans. Now, one book was that first one I spoke about. It is called as a man thinketh. As a man thinketh. It's little old English, thinketh. But the important thing is, it was the teachings of the Buddha. He quotes the first verse in the Dhammapada and he expands on that. And that is about the real meaning of karma. And it's very important to read that. And it's a small booklet. You can get free if you write that word on the computer. You have to write, as a man thinketh, and then all the information will come, and that whole book, which is a small book, you can download the book free of charge. So it's good to read that. And then the other book, Think and Grow Rich. You should buy that also. If you think in the proper way, you'll become rich. You see? That was written by a man called Napoleon Hill. He is available in the bookshops. Think and Grow Rich. Now there is a modern book which is coming in the form of a book and also in the form of a CD, which comes with the book sometimes, and that is called The Secret. The Secret is also talking about the same thing. If you think in the right way, you will be successful in life, or whatever you want, you can get. So this is the teaching of the Buddha. So it is very important to learn the Dhamma. Dhamma simply means the thoughts you think. Now when you talk about the Buddha Dhamma, it's nothing but the thoughts that the Buddha was thinking. And there are good thoughts as well as bad thoughts. The good thoughts are called Kusala Dhamma, and the bad thoughts are Akusala Dhamma. Some people think Dhamma is some word that cannot be translated or understood. That is not true. It is people who don't understand Dhamma who write like that or say that. Dhamma simply means the thoughts you think. So, to learn the Dhamma is to learn what are the good thoughts and what are the bad thoughts, and also how to cultivate good thoughts. Cultivation is a very important word, because people live because of what people cultivate. Now, normally when you use the word cultivate, people think of cultivating food, vegetables, or maybe rice or whatever you eat is cultivated. But that is not all that you can cultivate. You can cultivate thoughts, good habits, and good habits can also be cultivated, and the result is you will be happy as a result. So it is very important to cultivate your mind. That means the vegetables can be cultivated in your garden, but the good thoughts have to be cultivated in your mind. So it is, cultivation is a matter of repetition. You have to repeat the thoughts. It is by repetition that these thoughts begin to become habits. There is a saying, sow a thought and reap a habit. Sow a habit and reap a destiny. So if you reap the habits, it will be your destiny, which means you will be happy as a result. So it's just a matter of sowing good thoughts. And sowing means you have to keep on repeating. All habits come through repetition. If you have cultivated or at least formed a habit of smoking, and if you want to stop smoking, it's a matter of repetition. If you keep on repeating the smoking, the habit will become strong. But if you begin to stop smoking, every time you stop smoking, your habit of smoking becomes weaker. And if you keep on repeating that new habit of not smoking, then that begins to become stronger and stronger, and ultimately you will completely give up smoking. So this is very important to understand, and the importance of forming good habits of thoughts. And that is what is called karma. So karma simply means good habits of thinking. So I don't have much time to go beyond this, but you also have time to ask questions. So, if you understand the importance of good thinking and the formation of good habits, if you didn't understand anything, you can now ask questions, and I will try to answer. Yeah, emotion, yeah.
So it's very difficult to control emotion.
Why?
Yeah, that's why I think it's very difficult to control an emotion when you are angry. So how can you control that? And share with us how you really control emotion to have a better.
Okay, sit down. You see, if I ask you a question, you try to answer that. If you have a candle here and you light the candle, can you get that flame out? Huh? Can't. Huh? If you light a candle and keep it here on the table, will you be able to turn off that flame? Huh? What? No, to stop with burning. Stop burning. Can you do that? How? Huh? Blow it out. Very easy job. If this building catches fire, can you blow it and take it off? No. What does that mean? Your emotion is also like that. When the emotion is a little, you can just blow it off. If you let the emotion rise up and becomes powerful, then you can't take it off. So this is why when the anger begins to come, you should throw it out. Not wait till it begins to become big anger. Right? That is the secret behind that. Nip in the bud. That is the way to do it. And you should always be watching your mind to find out whether any anger comes up. And there is another secret that you can learn. Normally, you focus your attention on what is happening outside. Why do you become angry? Because someone does something or says something, that's how you become angry. And this is because the anger will remain only as long as you keep on looking at what happened. Now, instead of looking at what happened, if you start looking at what has happened to you, which is anger, you understand? You have been shot with 2 arrows. If a person shoots you, that is something that person did. But if you become angry, then you are shooting another arrow onto yourself. So if you become angry because someone else did something, you are only hurting yourself. You should not be hurting yourself for what someone did to you. So you have to keep your peace of mind inside and not worry about what other people do in the world outside. And that whole anger came because you are thinking of yourself. It is your own pride. This person did this to me, and you become angry. This person insulted me, and you become angry. You must think that all people are suffering in this world. Sometimes because some people do things, and sometimes because certain things happen in nature itself. You know that thing called tsunami that happened? That was natural thing that happened. And some people were even killed. So these are things that happen in the world, and if we begin to worry about what happens in the world, we will be unhappy all the time. So happiness is something to be cultivated within by yourself, by thinking good thoughts. So if you think good thoughts all the time, whatever happens in the world, you will be a happy person. If you begin to think bad thoughts all the time, whatever happens in the world, you interpret it in such a way that you become unhappy, you are creating unhappiness to yourself. You are doing it to yourself. So this is why, if we follow that principle properly, then you will be happy all the time. Once there was a man who came to kill the Buddha. But when he came near the Buddha, he couldn't shoot the Buddha. Why? Because the Buddha looked so pleasant and happy that he couldn't do that. So the Buddha saw him and said, "Don't be frightened, come here." So he came, and he began to talk to him about the Dhamma. And ultimately he became a disciple of the Buddha. You see? And you know that person called Angulimala, who had killed 900 people, and so Buddha went to meet him, but the thing is, he was chasing after the Buddha, but he couldn't approach the Buddha. He was running, but the Buddha was going very slowly. And so he shouted at the Buddha, "Stop, stop." But the Buddha continued. He didn't stop. And the Buddha said, "I have stopped. You have not stopped." So this man was thinking, because the Buddha was walking, he had stopped. But Buddha is saying, "I have stopped, you have not stopped." So he began to think there must be some reason why he's saying this. And he went and asked, "Why?" Then he said, "I have stopped killing, you have not stopped killing." You see, that is the time when he began to realize that he has been doing something wrong. So it's like that. The important thing is that we have to change our way of thinking. This is the most important thing. So if we begin to change our way of thinking, this anger and things like that all disappear. So this is the secret behind all